Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. Gene Joke here, and today I'm adding Devwill 2 to my ever-growing list where I rank every Evercade game ever. Devwill 2 is a platform game for the Sega Mega Drive which can be found on the Mega Cat Collection 2 for the Evercade. In it you control a homunculus, an artificial being, on its quest to understand the meaning of its existence, which it does by jumping on platforms and on the heads of other creatures, because this is a platform game and that's what you do in these things. As it's an aftermarket game or homebrew or indie game, whatever you want to call it, there's no nostalgia here. I hadn't heard of it before getting an Evercade and well, it's the only place I've ever played it. The graphics are quite nice. While technically it's not that impressive, being that it looks almost more like an 8-bit game than a 16-bit game, artistically it's well done. Even though the backgrounds are quite repetitive, it all has a somewhat surreal and otherworldly charm to it, which is very fitting with the plot of the game. The presentation is decent, with cutscenes between some of the levels telling the story, and touches like a band playing on the jukebox screen, or the sound test screen if you like. The sound effects are decent enough, they're fairly sparse, but they suit the feel of the game, they do the job. The soundtrack is rather good. It's jolly, upbeat and suits the action, and a couple of tracks are quite memorable. On the gameplay front, things are fairly straightforward. It's a flip screen platformer. Your controls are basic. You have a dash and a jump. If you dash into enemies, you'll then jump as you kill them, and you can combo jumps and dashes to get extra points when taking out enemies. The enemies are very basic. They have a few set movement routines, some stay in place, some move back and forth, and the speed of which can vary, and there are some other enemies with different movement patterns, but they're all fairly simple. There's nothing complex here with the enemy logic routines, not even with the bosses, they're all very straightforward. The game design as a whole is very minimalist, both aesthetically and in gameplay terms, so it sounds simple enough, but as the game progresses it will require extra precision and timing. It's very simple to get to grips with, but the later game definitely requires some mastery, not to mention a bit of memorization, because some screens you go onto and you're immediately in danger. The controls are quite tight, but they're also quite unforgiving, which certainly adds to the challenge of the game. Overall, it's not a bad little game. Between the narrative and the aesthetics and the simple but effective gameplay, yeah, it works for the most part. On the downside, it is quite repetitive, not so much in the gameplay terms, which although it is, I think it's fun enough that you don't mind too much. But the backgrounds and screen layouts do get repeated a lot, as do the enemies. There's not a huge amount of enemy variety, and your mini bosses get repeated an awful lot. Now there is a ZX Spectrum version of this game. I'm not sure which one came first, but I would hazard a guess that the Spectrum version and some of the limitations of this game come from it being a port of that. But as I said, I'm not sure if that's the case, and I could have it completely backwards. Anyway, it's a game that I think might have sort of more niche appeal and not really appeal to everyone, but I don't know, I kind of like it, but would I recommend it? With a caveat maybe. Placing it on my overall ranking list, I'm putting it above Sydney Hunters in the Cavern of Death, but below Don Doko Don. I think that's a wrap for this video, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.